In the last video lecture, we have discussed about the sag, and it has been calculated when the supports are at equal level. Okay, and in this is not the case all the time. I mean to say that the supports may not be at the same level for all the cases. For example, in hilly area, the supports for over a transmission line conductor do not remain at the same level. Like here, see here. The support A and support B are not at the same level. Okay. And the lowest point on the conductor is O. And this O is not the center point of A and B. Here you can see the lowest point O is nearer to A rather than B. Okay. S1 is the sag at support A and S2 is the sag at support B. H is the difference in two sags. H is equal to S2 minus S1. L is the total span. This is the distance between support A and support B. X1 is the distance between A and O, whereas X2 is the distance between O and B. Okay. Let L be the horizontal distance between the towers, that is span. Okay. H, the small h. H is the difference in level between the two supports. H is the difference in levels between two supports. T is the tension in the conductor. Okay. X1 is the horizontal distance between point O and support A. X2 is the horizontal distance between point O and support B. Let W be the weight of the conductor per unit length. Now, if you recall what we have calculated for the sag when two supports are at the same level. So that sag was given as S is equal to W x square by 2t. Okay. Taking the same reference, now sag S1 is equal to W into x1 square. Okay. W into x1 square by 2t. Similarly, sag S2 is equal to W into x2 square by 2t. Okay. Now, S1 minus S2. S1 minus S2 is given by W by 2t is common for both equations. So, W by 2t is taken common. X1 square by 2t, x1 square minus x2 square. So, after solving this, what we get? W by 2t, x1 square minus x2 square. How we can write? Like a square minus b square. A square minus b square is equal to a minus b plus a minus b into a plus b. Same lines. Okay, x1 square minus x2 square can be written as x1 minus x2 into x1 plus x2. And we know that x1 plus x2 is equal to L. Okay, so substitute that. So S1 minus S2 is equal to WL by 2t into x1 minus x2. WL by 2t into x1 minus x2. x1 minus x2 is equal to 2 into S1 minus S2 into T divided by W into L. Okay. Now, If you solve this equation, we will get x1 minus x2 is equal to 2 s1 minus s2. What is s1 minus s2? S1 minus S2 is H. Correct now? So substitute that 2 into H into T divided by WL, and x1 minus x2 is equal to 2HT, right, divided by WL. This you call this is equation number 2. Now solving equation 1 and 2, what we will get is x1 is equal to L by 2 minus T into H divided by WL, and x2 is equal to L by 2 plus TH by WL. So if we know the value of x1 and x2, we can calculate the sag at support A and support B. So S1 is the sag at support A. Therefore, if you substitute the value of x1 in this equation, we will calculate the sag at support A. And similarly, if we substitute the value of x2 here, we will calculate the sag at support B. Okay. Now, these equations for sag are only valid in ideal situation. Ideal situation in the sense, the condition when there is no wind is flowing and there is no ice loading on the overhead transmission line. In this case, it's okay. This is valid. But in actual practice, there always exists a wind pressure on the conductor, and as far as ice loading is concerned, it is mostly observed in cold countries like Russia and other. Even in our country, like Himachal Pradesh, Kashmir, there will be ice loading on the transmission line. In such cases, this calculation does not hold good. So we have to consider the effect of wind and ice on the transmission line. Okay, we'll see that now. The effect of ice and wind on sag. The height per unit length of the conductor is changed. The weight, I mean to say, the weight per unit length of the conductor is changed when wind blows at a certain force on the conductor and ice accumulates on the conductor. The weight will change automatically. The wind force acts on the conductor horizontal. If this is your conductor surface, the wind blows perpendicular to the face of the conductor. So wind force acts on the conductor to change the conductor self-weight per unit length horizontally in the direction of air force. Ice loading acts on the conductor to change the conductor self-weight per unit length vertically downwards. Weight acts vertically downwards, whereas wind is horizontal to the surface. Okay. Considering wind force and ice loading both at a time, the conductor will have a resultant weight per unit length. The resultant weight will create an angle with the ice loading which is acting downwards. Okay, let us see that now. Okay. See, let us calculate what is the sag when wind as well as ice is accumulated on the conductor, transmission line conductor. Let us take this as your conductor. this is the conductor, okay, and this is ice coating, okay. So the thickness of the ice coating is T, and d is the diameter of this conductor. So the total diameter of the conductor with ice coating is d plus this T and this T. There will be one more T here, thickness, right? So what is the total diameter of the conductor with ice coating? D plus 2T. Okay. So let us assume that W is the weight of the conductor itself per unit length. And let Wi is the weight of the ice per unit length. Wi is the weight of the ice per unit length. Therefore, Wi is given by density of ice into volume of the ice per unit length. So the density of ice into volume of the ice, so volume per unit length, right? So pi d square by 4 into L, that is a volume. So pi by 4, what is the diameter of the ice, only ice? Diameter of the ice is, see here, d plus 2t square minus d square, whole area pi by 4 into d plus 2t square minus this d square. So what you will get is the volume of the ice per meter length into L, or L is unit length, so I will take 1. Okay. So after solving this, what I will get is density of ice into pi into T into bracket d plus T. This is the weight of the ice per unit length. Okay, the density of ice is usually given. The density of ice is usually given in 918 gram, right? It will be given. So WW, let WW is the force of the wind per unit length, and WW is equal to wind pressure per unit area into projected area per unit length. Okay, so the wind always blows in this direction, at this is the wind pressure. Okay, this order. Wind pressure per unit area into projected area. This is a projected area. So that is given by wind pressure into d plus 2t, the diameter of the whole conductor with ice coating. That is d plus 2t into 1. Okay. So if this is the conductor, you have two forces on that, on this conductor. One is acting downwards, that is weight of the conductor plus weight of the ice, and another one is wind pressure, which is acting horizontally. So the resultant of these two forces is Wt. So the net weight of the conductor per unit length, which is given as Wt is equal to under root Wi plus W whole square plus WW square. This is the net weight of the conductor. So if you substitute the value of Wt in your equation, so we can calculate what is the sag. Sag is given by Wt into L square by 2t. Okay, and this is called as a slant slag. Okay, this is a slant. It makes an angle theta with the vertical component. So that is, this is a slant sag, and vertical sag is given by, you multiply this sag with cos theta, you will get a vertical sag. Therefore the tan theta is given by WW divided by W plus Wi. Okay, so this is about the effect of ice and wind pressure on the conductor, and because of this ice coating and wind pressure, the sag changes. Okay, fine. Thank you.